Hello everyone, I am Reverend Gartlyn Arthur Chance. My husband, Minister John Chance, and I are the pastors of the Holistic Transformation Ministries at Louis Land Settlement in Tobago. The Holistic Transformation Ministries is a Pentecostal church which operates under the umbrella of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the West Indies. I have been involved in education as a mainstream teacher and special education teacher for 35 years of my life. This program, Bridging the Gap, will be aired on the Tobago Inspirational Network every Saturday at 8 p.m. The program is expected to keep you at the edge of your seat. Join us as we apply the Word of God to deal with issues relating to early childhood and adolescence. Bridging the Gap, right here on TIN. Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap. It's always a pleasure to spend this time with you, discussing ways in which we can bridge the gap. It is important that we keep the relationship between the generations open so that we can pass things on. We do not want the gospel message to die with us. We want the younger ones to be able to carry it on, and we must find ways and means of connecting so that there will be no generational barriers to prevent the Word of God from going forth. Yes. On set with me this evening is a beautiful young lady. Her name is Christina Commission. And I want you to take a good look at her. Those of us who were around in the 1970s, remember Penny Commission. She's just as beautiful as Penny Commission. Good evening, Christina.
Good evening.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine and you look good.
So do you.
Today, as I told you before, we are going to have a little discussion. But first of all, I want you to tell me, because I know that you're a believer.
Yes, I am.
I, more than anybody else, will know that you're a believer. I want you to tell me what church you go to.
Well, hi. Let me just say good evening to the viewers. I greet you in no other name but in the name of Jesus Christ. The church I attend is Holistic Transformation Ministries. It's a member of the Pentecostal Assembly of the West Indies, short for PAWI, which most of you will know. And here is my lovely pastor. Yes, she is.
Okay. So this, viewers, as you just heard, she's a member of our church, a committed member at that. Tell me, Christine, as a young girl, tell me something about your experience with God.
Well, well, firstly, let me say it hasn't been easy, but you know, growing up, you know, my school, my primary school, my principal, he is a pastor, and you know, he used to encourage us to come to church, and you know, it's a fellowship, and just to know God, get to know Him. So you know, I went and I partake of, you know, Sunday school, used to go and do VBS. And, you know, God has been so good. God is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said your principal was a pastor.
Yes, he is.
And how did he impact your life? Did he take you to church? What?
He did. And you know, every Sunday he would send a maxi to pick us up. Yeah, he used to send a maxi to pick us up to go to church, make sure we get there. So he did. You know, I want to thank him. He did a good job. If it wasn't for him, you know, I wouldn't have no God. So I just want to say thanks to him.
Okay, that was indeed a good pastor.
Yeah.
He made sure that the spiritual dimension of his students, that he worked on that.
He did.
You know, that is missing from our schools today in most of our schools. And
yes, it is.
It's good that he would have sown that seed in your life.
Yes.
But I want to find out, you said there was a maxi and he came to pick up members from your family?
Yeah, from the family and villagers, you know.
Okay.
From the village.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did he concentrate mainly on the students that were from his school?
No. It was, you know, abroad. It was wide. Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, that really hit me really hard because he was your principal.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't a father or just a member of, okay, he was your principal.
Yeah.
And he made sure that he found a means of getting you to church. You and perhaps other young
brothers
ones, right, from within your home and from within other homes
yes.
as well. You know, for the past episodes, we have been talking about bridging the gap. And we use the psalm that speaks about the archer and the arrow. Okay. And indeed, your principal was a good archer.
He was.
He made sure that he took care of his charges.
Yes.
Good principal. Can you remember his name, by the way?
Of course, Pastor Allsworth James.
Okay, so we need to say, just in case he's looking on, we need to say hello to Pastor.
Hi, Pastor Allsworth James. Thank you so much, and God bless always.
Yes, yes. So tell me something about your Christian life during that time.
It was tough. Well, at the age like about after being in VBS and getting involved, you know, in church, going constantly, you know, with and so, you know, going to worship team and sing. That was like the age of 11, 12, 13, around there. And, you know, I would constantly go and, you know, make vows and tell God I will, you know, live for him and do his will and stuff. But it doesn't always go that way, you know. It is always have the bad influence, the influence doing wrong stuff. Yeah. But
one thing I would like to know, you said Pastor sent a van or a maxi to get you all to go to church, and the children went. What about mommy and daddy?
Mommy and daddy. Mommy went probably 3 times, 4 times.
Okay.
Daddy, no, he didn't.
Okay, so they were not believers.
No.
All right. So I heard you say that when you were in secondary school, even when you were going to church, you had some influences, positive influence from pastor and probably some other believers, and some peer pressure. You know, secondary school is the time for that. What are some of the things that you would have experience in school? When you say people were pulling you, is it that you're saying that you departed from the faith after a time?
I did.
Okay.
But you know, secondary school, it was tough because, you know, situations at home, financial situations, and you know, it had, you know, rough time between us, where I had to, like, you know, fend for myself, you know, plait here in order to, you know, go to school and these things. And it was tough. It was depressing after a while. And I just like, you know what? I can't take this no more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand you. While you were going to secondary school, parents were not believers.
No.
You and probably some of your siblings were trying your best to follow the path of God.
Yeah.
And then you had some bad influences. I want you to tell me of some of the things that you would have experienced in school that caused you to depart from God.
Well, experience in school, you know, you're quiet. I was quiet.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so people will kind of like pick on you, you know, those kind of things. And then every, you know, home problems adding up to the little, what's it called? I wouldn't say bullying, but, you know, the kind of picky. So, you know, that made me, you know, and then you have friends who is not believers, so, you know, they're going to talk about parties and boyfriends, and then you wanna know what's out there.
Yes,
so.
yes, I understand. I was 12 years at one time, 13 years, and just as young as you. You know, in a previous program we spoke about Psalm 1.
Yeah.
you would have heard me
Yeah.
speak about Psalm 1. And
Yes.
the psalmist there reminds us or informs us that the man who is blessed is the one who does what? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
Yeah.
So we saw some of that coming out there when you said you had friends who were not godly friends. And of course, if you were with them and aligning yourself with them, they would tell you things that would eventually cause you not to just walk, but to stand with them and then to sit with them. And then eventually, did you say you departed from church?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I did.
Tell me about that.
Well, from Form 3, I left school.
Okay.
I left school at Form 3, so I didn't get to complete senior second, stuff like that. So I left and I came to Tobago at the age of 14.
Okay. So
Yeah.
did you know where you were going?
I did. I had a sister, my elder sister.
Okay.
She lived there. So I said I will come and stay with her and, see what life could give me in Tobago.
Okay.
So
you left school at 14?
yeah, I did.
And did you leave school to come to school in Tobago?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you ended your school life.
Yes, I did.
All right, what class were you in?
I were in 3A. It was
all right,
Form
3.
Yeah, so
but where was Pastor who was with you in primary school at the time?
He was there, but I did not talk to him like that.
Okay, you hid from him.
I did.
You had other friends, so
I did.
All right.
I thought he,
What was your parents' response? What was their reaction to your decision to move out of school and go to Tobago?
Dad didn't say anything much, but Mom, she was like, "You sure you want to go?" And they let me go, which I thought, now looking back, I think it was, I thought I was doing the right thing, which I wasn't. And, I thought they should have been more stern and put down the foot and, be like, you're going to finish school and you're going to finish your education and stuff like that.
So they were not worried at all when you were leaving school at 14 years?
Mommy was.
Okay.
Mommy was.
But Daddy wasn't. He was indifferent.
Yeah, he was.
All right. So perhaps we could say that there was no real parental
no, it wasn't.
support for you at that time.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Who do you blame? I still want you to tell me who you blame for this turn of your life.
I blame myself, because when you're young, you decide, well, you want to do your own thing, but the Bible talk about obey your parents and honor your mother and your father so your days will be longer. I blame myself because I could have obeyed them and listened to them. At the end of the day, your parents is always the one that you're supposed to listen to. It would not, sometimes it wouldn't be the best advice, but they just know what they're talking about. They just know.
So you're implying that you are the one who did not listen to your parents at a certain time.
I would say that.
So it's not that they did not stop you from going to Tobago. Tell me about it.
Well, they did. Well, they didn't stop me.
You didn't listen to them?
I didn't listen to them.
All right.
When I was leaving, it's not like that. Chrissy, don't go. They didn't say don't go or anything. They just be like, Mommy be like, she will hope everything work out and stuff like that.
So what about the school? Was it just an abrupt move?
Yeah, it was. It was. Definitely.
So the school never tried to, to intervene, to find out, well, where is Chris?
I don't think so. Everything happened so soon. So soon.
Okay, so you just got up one day and decided, I'm no longer going back to school. Were you performing well in the academics?
I was, I wasn't always a maths person, but other areas I was. Yeah.
Okay. I'm still trying to understand, if you were performing well at school.
I was. I will say I was.
What are some of the things that really drove you to make this decision to leave school?
What was it? Stress. I think it was stress. It was just so much, you know, your parents coming down on you in that type of way. It was hard. It was hard.
What way did they come down on you?
You know, when trying to, my dad, you know, trying to talk to him, you know, well, he's not a believer, so then God wouldn't be in the home.
Okay.
And, you know, we wouldn't get directions, or you wouldn't get the love that you really need. So, you know, me and he will like say something, and I will try to correct him, and then he will think, you know, like, this is my house, but you know, you can't say anything. And I will be like, that is not the point. You're not doing, you know, you're not being a dad. You're not.
Okay. Perhaps it was because you had previous experience in church, and you knew what was right. And
I did.
Was it obscene?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
yes, it was.
So there were times when he would use obscene in the midst of the
around the children,
and you would try to correct him.
And I would try to correct him.
And of course, he's the father of the home, so you don't have a voice at all.
You don't have a say.
All right. So that those are the kind of things that frustrated you.
Yeah.
And after that time, you felt like a disconnect.
Yes, I did. Definitely.
Okay. What do you think was missing from the home? Now, I'm trying to get somewhere here.
Yeah.
What do you think was missing from the home that caused you to, to experience such a life?
What was missing? I think respect, you know, God, love.
Okay, respect for God.
Yeah, respect for each other.
Okay.
Yeah. And God, you know, God have to be in the center of everything in order for it to work. And it didn't have that, so, you know, it was always arguing, quarreling, and stuff like that.
Okay,
it was always something.
Environment
was
the environment.
It was.
A frustrating one. And when you speak like that, it seems as if there were a number of you all there?
Yes, it was.
Okay, about
full house.
Full
house, about 11. No,
okay.
10, 11 of us.
Okay. Yeah. What are some of the things you would have liked to share with your parents that you feel you were deprived of during that time?
Bonding, that parents and child time, you know, the malls, the movies, the beach, the river, the parks. I didn't have that, you know, so I think if we had those things, we would have, end up on good terms.
So you didn't have the opportunity to bond, you said?
No.
All right, so there was a lack of interaction,
yes, it was.
Communication with your parents.
Yeah.
What about your older siblings? Did they provide you with that kind of experience?
Not really. It was tough.
It was tough for them as well?
Yeah. Always bickering and arguing.
What give me an idea of what a normal day
would be
in your life at home. You don't have to remember everything. It's probably a long time. But
a normal day, you get up. One thing, we always say good morning to each other. We always do that.
So there was that greeting of each other.
It was, you know. And we will make breakfast, you know, everybody have breakfast. And from there, just like quiet, nothing much, nothing to do. If we go to church, we come back home, or we go to school, nothing much. It was nothing
So
much.
Was Daddy in the house quite often?
Or
was he a typical limer?
No, he will go to work and then he will come home, and by the time he reach home, is noise. You know, Daddy gonna find something to quarrel about.
Okay, he wasn't a drinker or anything like that?
No, he just used to have his cigarettes. Yeah, now and then.
What about Granny and Auntie and...
Oh, my grandparents died.
Okay,
yes,
so you had no support from other family members?
No.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say my aunts. My aunts, they would try to talk, you know, but nothing in depth. Not in depth. They wouldn't get involved, too much involved.
Okay.
Yeah, they would just say when I have to, and then
Okay, Daddy was the man of his home.
He was.
And
he
nobody
was.
dared to interfere. All right. What do you think, though, that your parents should have done differently? Now, I'm asking you this question because I want the audience out there. We may have some fathers and some mothers, you know, and sometimes it's good when we could hear what you all think. You know what the younger ones think, so that we will not make the same mistake. We may have experiences like you would you experience in your family, and we could make changes based on what what we hear. So I want you to tell us, what do you think your parents should have done differently to prevent the turn that took place in your life at Form 3?
Well, I think they should have been, more responsible. They should have been like, you're not leaving, you need to finish your education. You need to, because, life out there is not easy, talk to me, school me, and, encourage me.
Okay.
Yeah, encourage
So you blame,
me.
so Christina, I'm just cutting your deal, continue after.
Yeah.
So you blame them for you being able to leave the home and leave in school as easily as you did. You remind me of something that I heard my parents talk about some time ago when I was a young girl, of this boy who was going to prison. He did something, I can't remember what it was, but he did something, and he had to be sentenced. Okay. And while the police they were taking him to the prison van, he told them, or I think it is before he left the court to go to the prison van, he told them that he wanted to speak to his mother. Okay. And when his mother went to him, he told her he wanted to tell her a secret, and he bit off a piece of her ears. Oh my because God. He said, if you had corrected me, I would not have been here today. So I think that it's something like that you are speaking about. You think that your parents should not have allowed you to leave home as easily. Did you think that at the time when you were leaving? Suppose they had tried to prevent you from leaving home at that time.
No, I thought they was going to do something, but they just let it slide.
All right.
I thought they was going to do something.
Okay. So now at this age, looking back, you're thinking that my parents should not have allowed me to have my own way. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a message to us parents. It's a message to us because our children are not mature enough. And even you, because right now you have 2 children. I do. Our children are not mature enough to make those choices at the age of 14. No 14-year-old should be able to tell a child, especially a 14-year-old who is excelling in academics, have no right to tell a parent, I'm leaving school now and I'm going to Tobago. Because education is so important. How do you feel about that now? How has it affected your life?
I am so sorry I did not get to finish school, and because I know I would have done well. I know I would have done well getting my subjects and have a good job for this day. I know. So it's important.
So what are some of the jobs that you have been in, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, what I have done, I work in hotels and hardware. Where I get like clothes store, these little jobs.
And you honestly feel that if you had completed your so your decision, you're thinking my decision was not a
good one.
Would you allow your daughter to do that?
No way.
Very well.
No way.
You have to be a good archer.
Of course, I have
for your
learned,
arrow.
Yeah.
Your arrow must not be allowed to oscillate in the air and end up anywhere. Your arrow, which is your daughter, has potential, just as you had potential. And your daughter, you have to make sure that you guide your daughter. So you would have done things differently. Yeah. And you think your parents should have done things differently. Yeah. What are some things that you think parents should have in the home, experiencing with their children in the home, so that they would bond? Some things that you perhaps did not have.
Parent, I just want to say
some things that you would have liked to do with them.
I would have liked to, you know, have mommy and daddy time, sit down and talk to them. You know, sometimes it's have little things, even as you're growing up, it will have things that you want to talk to your parents about. You know, I would have liked to be able to do that, and parents out there, make sure and do that with your kids. Make sure and do that with your kids.
Yeah. You needed talk time.
And
probably family meetings. So that you would be able to discuss your issues. You know, sometimes children need to be able to experience talking with their parents, to share their heart, so that the parents will understand where they're at before we lose them. And perhaps going to the beach and going to the mall and having fun. You know, was there any time within your family that you felt as if your father was like a stranger to you?
All right. It was bitterness, you know.
And it's the reason why you decided, I want to get out of this. In other words, you were searching for love.
I was.
You were searching for love. Well, our time is coming to a close. But I still want, I'm waiting for the last minute. There are some important areas that emerge from our conversation. It might seem as if it was a simple conversation, but it was not.
Okay. It was
you actually depicted the heart of the youths crying out. Crying out to the adults, you know, making us aware of what you want from us. You want friendship,
and love,
you want conversation, you want love. You spoke about financial support, right? Something that emerged from our conversation was decision making. You're not biologically mature enough to make these types of decisions because you're bombarded with mixed values wherever you go. So you need guidance as to the decisions that you made. You spoke about social support. You needed people around you to support you. At that time, pastor, as a pity pastor, wasn't around to bring you back, you know, to that place that you left. And you spoke about financial support. Did you say you had to do some things to keep yourself up?
I had to plait here.
All right, so it was a lot for you to do. Parents, we have to provide for children when they are in school and even in the communities. We need support from those in the communities. We need pastors. I'm speaking to myself. We need to follow up our charges. Had pastor followed you up, you might not have made that decision.
No, I wouldn't
Pastors, we have to follow up. But then there is another thing that came out there in Christina. Christina has now given back her heart to God.
Yes, I did.
The seed was sown by pastor, and she demonstrated resilience despite what she went through. And she didn't tell you the half of what she went through.
I did not.
But she went through a lot, but she was resilient. Christina was able to bounce back and to make a decision to serve God. Christina is now baptized. Christina is now committed to Christ. Christina is on the worship team and encouraging other young persons to serve God. Our children are vulnerable out there because they are exposed to peer pressure and they are being socialized by the media. Viewers, our time is up, but I hope you heard the young lady. She's a young girl still, but she started very young, so she had some experiences. And I hope we understand that in order for us to bridge the gap, the main thing that came out from this young lady today is the need for communication, the need for bonding. If you don't get it from within the home, you need to get it from the church or from the community, because the media is going to socialize them in a negative light. On set with me this evening is a beautiful young lady. I'll give you her name. Her name is Denicia Boyce. Denicia just completed secondary school, the 5th form level. And might I tell you that she is a brilliant, or might I say an intelligent student. She was one of the valedictorians of her graduating class. A pleasant good evening to you, Denicia. Welcome on set with me.
Good evening.
Okay, tell me something. How do you feel about being here?
I'm excited to be here, you know, to give knowledge to somebody out there.
Okay. Okay, tell me something that you would like to tell us about yourself.
Well, I am the second child for both parents.
Okay.
I am currently the secretary and PRO for my church youth group. I am also the secretary for my student council at school. And yeah.
Okay, we heard that, right? So then he says doing a wonderful job. Most of all, she's serving the Lord. Water baptized and Holy Ghost filled, and she's serving the Lord. Now today, as you know, then he said we're talking about bridging the gap. There's a gap between our age group, but we want to make sure that we are connected. And let me just share a little thing with you. She's a member of our church. She's a member of the Holistic Transformation Ministries. Very talented, very intelligent. But we want to speak to the youths concerning keeping connected. We don't want to be together in different areas and we're not connecting. So we want to connect. We want to understand the things that we must do to make sure that you want to be around us. We want you around us, and we want you to want us around you. So I want you to start by telling me something about your relationship with the adults in your family.
Well, growing up, the relationship with my parents was a fun one because, as I said, I was the second child.
Okay.
So at that age, well, my sister was already a teen, so she had more leeway, for lack of a better word, to go and come with permission, of course. So I was the center of attention for both parents at that point in time, because my little sister wasn't in the pictures yet. So it was fun. We went places, had more attention, used to talk more. But going into secondary school, that kind of changed because I had more responsibility and more things to do. So, and they were hard on me in terms of the things they expected me to do because I was getting older. So, it's still a okay relationship between them.
All right.
But, no, look at problems.
Okay, so, so during that time you were the center of attraction.
Yes.
And you enjoy being around mommy and daddy.
Yes.
And you had a big sister, so you were the baby in the family,
yes.
so you were the one.
Yes.
Okay, you said when you entered secondary school, things changed a bit. In what way? Is it that you became close? You said you had a lot of other activities that you were involved in. Okay. Did you pull to your peers or something like that a bit more?
Yeah.
Or you prefer to be with your friends, you know?
Yeah, I did. Because, you know, teens, we think we know everything at that age.
I like how you said, I like how she said that, viewer. She said she thinks that she knows, they think that they know everything. Okay, what about the relationship with the adults at school, your teachers and the other workers at school?
We have a respectable relationship.
All right, okay, and that's important.
I have one or two role models at school in form of teachers who themselves are Christians, so they help me in school.
Okay.
No, not to stray from
all right, they
God.
keep you in check.
Yeah.
All right, and that's important.
Yeah.
What about mommy and are they involved in? Well, I know daddy died some years ago, and that was a very hard experience for you, but you've bounced back really, really well. Very resilient. God was there for you, and you know, even though you have the memories, you know, and you know there's a saying that bygone experiences are never lost in truth. They grow more wonderful within the heart that keeps them, and it's important to know that God is your Father. You have a Father in God. God has been there for you and really brought you through, and the entire family, that experience has really brought you all through that experience. You know, you said that within the family, when you were younger, the relationship was very close. But now there is a little, could I refer to it as a gap?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a little gap there possibly because of the age group as well. And the experiences, the peer group and that kind of thing. What are some things that you would like to share with your mother? And your sister is a police, I know. And you know, they're usually very strict and straight because they know what is happening in society, especially as it relates to the youth. What are some things you would like to share with your mother and your police sister that will facilitate a closer relationship?
I think spending more time and listening to some of the things we have to say.
Okay.
Yes, there's a age group difference, but listening to what we have to say and not always talking from an adult point of view.
Okay.
I think that may help.
All right. So you're saying that you think that they should be able to put themselves in your position.
Yeah.
And to talk from a teenage point of view. All right, so the barrier there is a communication barrier, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's what you are suggesting. What do adults in the family, what I want you to be a little bit more specific. What do adults in the family do to prevent you from really opening up and sharing your heart to them? How come you're not telling them this? What are some things that they do, you think? And it may not only be in your family, because we're looking generally, that you think adults do to prevent, you know, youths like you from opening up to them.
I think the biggest thing is confidentiality. Because when I tell them something, they tell granny and they tell uncle and they tell everybody else, when they just want it to be between each other. So I think confidentiality is the biggest problem. Okay.
So you believe that, okay, and I am receiving that information. I am receiving. Parents and adults out there, I hope you are receiving the information. The young lady is saying that one thing that prevents them from sharing their heart to the adults is confidentiality, lack of confidentiality. She's saying that when they share things with us, that we tell other adults in the family because we are looking for support, I suppose. Okay, Denise, what advice do you have for parents and adult family members to encourage a better relationship? One that will encourage you to spend more time, to interact, to socialize, rather than to resent their company and preferring to spend more time with your peers?
I think they need to listen to us, as I said before, because sometimes they just don't listen. And that's where the peers come in. The peers will sit down and we go talk, and sometimes the peers going through these similar situations. So we could sit down and talk to the peers, whereas with parents, they're not around with age. So sometimes they need to enter our little world as teens to understand better, to communicate better.
Okay. I am particularly rephrase the question. So I asked you the same question twice to really hear what your answer would be, and you maintain that it's communication. And you just said that you would like them to enter into your little world. I'm trying to understand. You would like us to enter into your world. We were young like you at some point in time, but the generation has changed. Things have changed. The things that you are exposed to now, we were not exposed to. You know in our times, Denicia, when we were younger, like when I was around your age at 16, I felt the same way at times. I felt that my parents were not listening to me, that I prefer to be with my friends. You know, it's a stage that all of us go through. The experience that you are going through now, although it may not be the exact thing, we went through it as well, but I want you to be honest and tell me, see if you could get it from within you. What drives you to gravitate to your peer group to socialize that is really missing from the adults in your life? What it is in your peer group that drives you, to gravitate to them? You said there is a communication barrier with the adults. Mm-hmm. But what you think is really missing that really drives you to your peers?
The same thing, the communication.
Okay, so you find it's easier for your peers for you to communicate with your peers?
Yeah.
Is it because you all have the same desires,
I believe so.
You understand each other better?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see eye to eye? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And most times we want to, how to put it, we want a little freedom. Anything.
And when you say freedom, what do you mean? What are some of the things that you want to do? You said it's because you want freedom. So you feel as if you're in bondage at home?
Yeah, freedom to express yourself,
You sure it's just to express?
Well, for me, yeah, just to express yourself.
To express in what way? To talk?
Yeah.
Okay, you're not talking about going out?
No.
Going to places?
No, I have freedom to do that, well, with permission, but no freedom to express yourself more.
Okay, so is it that you find that the adults do not allow you the freedom? Do they shut you up? Apart from the fact that they would share it with somebody else, is it that they shut you up when you speak?
They probably don't realize they're doing it, but yes, like if
Give me some examples, like if you wanna talk about what happened, they'll be like, say for instance, you probably had a fight, and you just want to share it. They will interrupt and be like, I hope you're not being the one, you can't come along in my place doing them kind of thing. And okay. So you feel that sometimes they judge you?
Yeah.
Okay, based on other situations that you would have experienced. Okay, you said a fight. So they will come out and start, right away they will start scold you. I hope you're not involved in that,
Yes.
Okay, so you prefer that they will sit and you will exchange ideas, you will share it with them, and they will understand, and you will just talk. And so you find at any point in time during the conversation that they could tell you, it's okay if they tell you, well, that isn't something that you should be involved in. And
yeah, but not just like interrupt the fact that trying to express myself and I'm going to do such.
Okay, I'm getting you because I'm learning from you. You need us to listen. Communication needs attention. You want them to give you their undivided attention.
Yep.
You must not be interrupted when you speak into them because you don't feel as if the message is going across to them. Very, very important point. Very, very important point. And I hope that those who are listening, the adults who are listening, that they are learning, because many of us have the same problems with our children. But one of the things, though, Denicia, that would cause some parents and some guardians are very concerned about their children being engaged in negative groups because of what is happening in the society today. It is so different from when we were young. The trends, many are involved in immorality, and our young people are being destroyed. Just recently, we heard about the young boy who was caught. I think they locked him up. And so the boy who, well, I'm not sure that he did kill the young girl that he was probably having an affair with, but so many of our children are involved in, a lot of things that parents are afraid, and perhaps that's some of the that's one of the reasons why they are so concerned that when you come home and you tell them about these things that are happening in school, that they get scared. It scares them, and the first thing they think about doing is to try to prevent you from being involved in it. But as you said before, or the parents, you said we're not listening to you. We're not giving you an ear. We talk too much. That's what you're saying. We talk too much. We are always talking down to you, and you don't want that. You want us to share conversation with each other, that we could have a good communication with each other. You said that you prefer to go to your peers because your peers will listen. And that is one point, that they will listen and you feel as if you are more accepted by them. But do you believe that your peers are mature enough to give you advice?
I don't think so. But we gravitate towards them because same age group, more or less, yeah.
You all have something in common.
Yeah.
Same age group, the same problems, you think? Some of you.
Yeah.
Do you hear others around your age, perhaps within your class, or, you know, or those at church, do you hear them sharing the same views?
Most of the times, yeah.
So then we have a big problem with communication in our society with regards to adults and the younger ones.
Yeah.
All right. You said that your peers are not mature. You don't think your peers are mature enough to give you advice. So then, if the young people are gravitating to their peers, who they feel more comfortable communicating with, is that a big problem in our society then? Because it means that the person who would give you advice would be your peers. And how many of the young people are gravitating to peers that know the word, that are believers? You know, I want to refer to a scripture that I always refer to at church. You know where I'm going, right? Let me see if you remember where I'm going. Psalm 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. So we have a big problem there. I mean, parents, we've got to hear them. If she's saying that they cannot communicate with us, it means that they will not be getting as much advice as they should from us. I mean, what we have to do is to be able to exemplify it as adults. I'm speaking to the adults in TV land, you know. We have to exemplify it. We have to live it. But according to Denicia, they gravitate into their peers. It therefore means that the peers are the ones that are advising them. Some of them are ungodly, and that could be some of the reasons why we have so many problems in our society. But apart from gravitating to your peers, what about that little rectangular box that you all are always using your fingers to pick the knobs? Is it that the fact that the communication barrier is there between you and the adults in your family and school or wherever, that you're being driven to that as well?
Yeah, because...
Are you getting some of your advice from that as well? Share it with us.
I mean, we live in a technological...
Okay.
So everybody have a cell phone, everybody have a tablet. I mean, not everything on the phone or tablet good, but you could download proper apps like the Bible, stuff related to God. I have my Bible on my phone, so it makes it easier. The YouVersion Bible app, it helps you communicate with other Christians around the world.
Okay, and that's good.
So that's how you
share that more. Share a little bit more of that with me. What did you call it?
The YouVersion Bible app.
The YouVersion Bible
app. Yeah.
Okay.
It helps you communicate with Christians around the world. It gives you daily scriptures to read. It's fun. It makes it fun for me as a youth to gravitate towards the Word of God more. And I think youths should start using it because it's a fun way to learn the Bible, not just sit down with a little Bible in your hand and just learning it off the top of your head. It makes it fun for you to know the Word of God.
All right. Do you share that with your peers?
Yeah, I share it with the youth group at church, even
You
the
did?
ones at school. Yeah.
Okay, but you all didn't share it with the pastor. the pastor didn't hear that one, I don't think.
No, I don't
Okay,
think we share it with the
that's a
youth.
good thing. And what about if you share that with your mom and your sister, and you interact with each other by using that app? You think that will work?
I shared it with my sister, but
Okay.
she has a busy schedule.
Okay, so
She-
the other thing.
Her hours doesn't always work with my
All right,
hours.
okay, okay. So that's another problem that you're finding with the adults and the youth.
Yeah,
The-
different
a
schedule.
problem of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're asking for communication, open communication, and you're asking for more time. I want us to go back to where we spoke about the youths, your peers. You said no, they're not able to give you you don't think that they are able to give you the advice that you should get. How do you think you could then deal with this problem? Because you need advice as a young person growing up. Eh?
For instance, look, I have a role model as a teacher, Christian role model as a teacher. And I think if some of my peers develop a role model at school in form of a teacher, because most of our time is in school. So if you develop someone you could communicate with good, an adult at school, you could get good advice from that adult.
Okay. Now I'm learning something else from you. It's not all adults that present with this problem, that they're not communicating. So you have adults that you can communicate with, right? And that is a message that we must send to the youth out there. That's a message that we must send to them. That they need to understand that as a very young person, your age, they're not able to give you the advice sometimes, the wise advice that you may need to get. So you will have to find somebody. You can find somebody, as you said, within the school environment. As in your case, you are a believer, a Christian. So you find a Christian role model. Within the school, within the home or the family, you can also find one, because you really need we really need to connect, because we have been along the road already. We have gone through the route, right? It's a journey of life. And when you reach my age, I'm not going to share it, right? When you reach my age, it means that you have had some experiences that we could share with you so that you can learn from. So that's a message that you're giving to the youth. They must have somebody that they could use as a role model, that if you have an issue, you could go to and talk to. And I'm putting you on the spot. Do you find I'm a person that you could that you could come to and share experiences at times?
Yeah, I could come to you now.
Don't tell me that because you're in front of my face. Viewer, she really does come and talk to me at times, and I enjoy speaking with the youths. Now, you must have some advice just before we go for adults. There is there is a drastic need for the adults to change their communication approaches to the youths or with the youths. What advice as a young person do you have for us? You know, you need to tell us, look, people, you all need to change. We need you because we need to get advice from you, therefore you need to change your approaches. Tell us what you want. Don't be afraid.
We want confidentiality when we come to audio.
Okay, she's saying that we talk too much. So she wants confidentiality. They need to understand that we are going to keep what they tell us. Go ahead.
And openness, that we could come to you and talk to you about anything.
Any
Respectful,
issue.
of course.
Okay.
But openness. And just
Okay.
listen to what we have to say.
So you want us to give an ear. You want confidentiality, and you want openness, that we could discuss any issue without us having to judge you. Fair enough, and I'm sure that they heard that. So that is what you say. You are saying would really help to bridge the gap between the adults and the youth. Well said. Gives us food for thought. Gives us food for thought. And you listeners, I am sure that you heard the young lady. Now my responsibility is to have them share their views, because we want to connect. We want to be able to understand each other. And that's what I'm trying to bring out in them. I'm asking questions so that I could get them to share their heart. She knows that I gave her, and I only heard her, she only shared today because I listened to her without judging her. And that's what they want us to do. You know, as I said before, Titus speaks of the older women teaching the younger ones. If they do not trust us, they are not going to share their hearts with us, and they are not going to listen to us. So we want to create an environment of trust. Confidentiality was one of her biggest issue, and perhaps it's the issue of others as well. You know, we have I myself am guilty of that. My daughter telling me something and I may go tell my husband, and sometimes I'm so angry I may tell my sister or somebody, and that's something that they do not want. I really do appreciate you, Denicia. You were very open, and we have learned a lot from you sharing with us today. I thank you for being my guest on the program.
Thanks for having me.
We are going to look at different ways, because we want to hear you, and then we're going to look at different ways on the program of dealing with the issues that you mentioned. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's about us and having a relationship, because the idea is to bridge the gap so that the legacy could be passed on to the next generation. Have a wonderful rest of the holidays, and I know that you're going to be successful in your CSEC. You told me the other day that you were scared. God is good. You did the work already, and the results is there. So may God continue to bless you as you seek to live a life that is pleasing to Him. I thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, viewers, we've come to the end of another program. May God richly bless you until we meet again next. Hello, everyone. I am Reverend Gartlyn Arthur Chance. My husband, Minister John Chance, and I are the pastors of the Holistic Transformation Ministries at Louis Land Settlement in Tobago. The Holistic Transformation Ministries is a Pentecostal church which operates under the umbrella of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the West Indies. I have been involved in education as a mainstream teacher and special education teacher for 35 years of my life. This program, Bridging the Gap, will be aired on the Tobago Inspirational Network every Saturday at 8 p.m. The program is expected to keep you at the edge of your seat. Join us as we apply the Word of God to deal with issues relating to early childhood and adolescence. Bridging the Gap, right here on TIN.